Hello, my name is Claire Tipton from TESOL, Chicago. Today I want to discuss a brief history of English. English can be traced back to the British Isles during the 5th century AD, when three Germanic tribes, the Angles, the Saxons, and the Jutes, crossed the North Sea from what are now Denmark and northern Germany. Previously, the regional dialect was a form of Celtic. However, during the invasions, many Celtic speakers were driven into Wales, Cornwall, and Scotland. The Brittany coast of France hosts the descendants of one Celtic tribe who still speak the Celtic language of Breton today. The Angles were named from Angle, their land of origin. Their language was called English in the modern world. Over the next few centuries, 4 dialects of English developed. Northumbrian in Northumbria, which is north of the Humber, Mercian in the Kingdom of Mercia, West Saxon in the Kingdom of Wessex, and Kentish in Kent. Northumbria's culture and language dominated Britain in the 7th and 8th centuries. The Viking invasions of the 9th century brought this domination to an end. Only Wessex remained as an independent kingdom. As of the 10th century, the West Saxon dialect became the official language of Britain. Written Old English is mainly from the Saxon period. Though originally written in an alphabet called runic, derived from the Scandinavian tree, the Latin alphabet gained prominence when it was brought over from Ireland by Christian missionaries. Thus, this has remained the writing system of English. During the 10th century, the vocabulary of Old English consisted of an Anglo-Saxon base with borrowed words from the Scandinavian languages at that time, Danish and Norse along with Latin. Latin provided English many new words, like kitchen, kettle, cup, cheese, wine, bishop, martyr, and candle. The Vikings added Norse words, such as sky, cake, husband, fellow, ugly, they, their, and them. Celtic words survived, though they were mainly retained in place and river names, such as Devon, Dover, Kent, Trent, Severn, Avon, and Thames. In 1066, when the Normans conquered Britain, French became the language of the Norman aristocracy and added more vocabulary to English. More pairs of cognates or similar words arose. The Germanic form of plurals, the tradition of adding en to the singular, such as house to housen, was eventually displaced by the French method of making plurals by adding an s, such as house to houses. Only a few words have retained their Germanic plurals: men, oxen, feet, teeth, and children. French also influenced spelling so that the CW sound came to be written as QU. In the 14th century, English became the dominant language of Britain again. King Henry IV in 1399, whose mother tongue was English, became the first native English-speaking king of England since the arrival of the Normans. By the end of the 14th century, the dialect of London had emerged as the standard dialect of what we now call Middle English. This was the language of Chaucer. Modern English began around the 16th century, and like all languages, is still changing. One change occurred when the th of some verb forms became an s, such as loveth to loves and hath to has. Auxiliary verbs also changed, such as he is risen to he has risen. Since the 16th century, because of the contact that the British had with many peoples from around the world and the renaissance of classical learning, many words have entered the language either directly or indirectly. New words were created at an increasing rate. Shakespeare coined over 1,600 words. This process has grown exponentially in the modern era. New vocabulary is created on a daily basis. Consider all the new vocabulary associated with the field of technology, such as cell phone, PC, superconductor, instant message, and all the creative spellings that have come with the internet alone. Due to the extent of borrowed words and the constant changes in the language, the vocabulary of English has developed into the largest of any language. Still, the foundation of English remains the Anglo-Saxon of Old English. Only about 5,000 or so words from this period are unchanged, but they include the basic components of the language, such as most pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and auxiliary verbs. Some topics for your discussion are Why does an ESL teacher need to know about the history of English? You can submit a paragraph to discuss your opinion. In which situation will you, as an ESL teacher, be able to use this knowledge? You can again submit a paragraph to discuss your opinion.